Hey guys, it's Zach here and welcome back to another video. Today I thought I would run through the Gillingham road race that I did on the weekend on Sunday and talk you through it a little bit. I didn't actually take my GoPro or take any photos of my phone because I thought I just wanted to focus on the race and there wasn't anyone coming with me that could stand at the side of the road and get any footage. So I probably should have vlogged a little bit, but alas, I was perhaps just too embarrassed to do it amongst people that I've raced with and known for quite a few years. But regardless, I'm going to take you through the race tactics and how I was able to pick up second, which is my joint best ever result. I've never actually won a race, but I was really chuffed to get second in this race, especially in the manner that I was able to do it. So I met Chris, my old teammate, about 7:30, and then we drove down to the start line. We got there a little bit early, but that's okay. Just gave us a little bit of time to suss things out, get our numbers, pin our numbers on, and do a little bit of a warm-up. The finish was on a little bit of a drag. I don't know how steep it was, but it did get fairly steep at points. Nothing crazy, but probably up to about 10%. It was about 2 or 3 minutes up to the finish line. So I thought, you know, this finish does suit me, being on the lighter side. The only problem was that it was a block headwind, which meant that if I went early and someone jumped onto my wheel, I would end up leading them out, and it was all too easy to go too early. So I had that in the back of my mind coming into the start of the race. I was active the whole day. I was attacking, counter-attacking, making sure to fire up the legs, and then when a significant break of 4 did go, I was the one instigating, or at least helping to chase with a few of the other stronger guys in the group. I don't think I was ever further back than 10th from the front. I was very active in the whole race because I knew that with this fitness that I've built over the winter, yes, I've been a little bit lackluster with training over the last couple of months as we've got exams and coming into the summer and doing a little bit of everything. I'm not taking things so seriously this year. For example, I did do a hike literally the day after as my recovery, and I did ride to Lloyd's house and back in the week before. So it's not exactly the ideal build-up. I did do some openers the day before just to get the legs firing, but it's nothing ideal. I really want to be active in racing and just have fun with it, to be honest. I don't have aspirations to make it to an elite racer, although who knows if those will change in a few years time. But at the moment, it's just all about having fun, getting as fit as I can whilst also not putting too much pressure on myself and just having fun with it. So anyway, I think about an hour in, I was working quite well with a few of the guys to chase down this main breakaway. We managed to catch them in the end after they'd been up the road for about 40 minutes. The Gillingham road race course was about 12 miles and it was 4 laps, with the final lap going straight up that finishing hill. I was actually starting to worry about halfway that I'd burnt too many matches in the first half of the race, because I was literally going off the front solo, knowing that I was going to be brung back, but just to try and spice things up, try and force a move or force people to chase. I just thought, whilst my legs are feeling good and I don't want to just sit in the bunch cruising at 150 watts, so I thought I'd just get my head down, get stuck in and just see what happens, see if I can take anyone with me. What ended up happening in the end is, as I helped to chase the break back, one guy counter-attacked that main break that had gone for quite a while, and he stuck out there solo for about 10-15 minutes until me and one other bloke decided to bridge across. So I don't know exactly how it happened, but I think this guy attacked and I knew that this was the move to get onto. So I jumped onto his wheel and then I pulled very hard to get across that gap. Granted, the guy I was with was probably stronger than me, but I was pulling very hard because I was like, this is it. If we make it stick and then settle back into a consistent tempo for like 40 minutes, then I don't think the bunch is chasing us. And we were basically in a 3-up breakaway for over a lap to finish. I think it was probably about half an hour in total. And eventually the original guy that attacked actually got dropped. He couldn't pull through anymore, so I had to come round him. I probably did about 30% of the work, if I'm being honest. Maybe towards the end about 20% of the work, because this bloke was absolutely flying. Apparently he was a Cat 1 in 2018, which, you know, I've never been there, and he clearly knows how to race. He's clearly a very high level of fitness. If you were there, you'll know this guy was built like a brick. I mean, if you're watching this now, then obviously I'm just complimenting you, but he's like, must be like an ex-bodybuilder or something. His calves were huge. So I knew that I didn't have that planted power as him, especially an hour and 40 minutes into a race where I was starting to feeling the effects of the earlier attacks. But I made sure to pull through when I could. I wasn't bluffing too much about when I told him I couldn't pull through, I wasn't really bluffing. I literally couldn't, but I knew that we had a huge gap on the bunch. I think with about 15 minutes to go, we had a minute on the bunch, which is more than enough to stay away, considering there were no real uniform teams that were going to work to bring it back. So I was quite pleased with my position, and I knew that this bloke could probably outsprint me because of his absolutely massive legs. So I wasn't going to mess around and play too many games. I probably wish I attacked sooner at the base of the climb, but again, it was a block headwind, so if he just closed it down and got onto my wheel, I'd just be giving him the perfect lead out. What happened in the end, he sort of just rode next to me and we were riding side by side for about 5 seconds, and then he just snapped. He snapped at about 70 RPM. I'm thinking, how on earth is this guy producing this much torque through his legs this deep into the race? And I just had nothing. I couldn't respond. I think I peaked at 850 watts or something, and I couldn't sustain it, and I dropped back down to about 500 for the last 30 seconds as this guy basically just rode away from me at 70 RPM at the end of the race. And he put in a sizable gap, and I'll put some pictures on the screen now, but it was several bike lengths. And I mean, yes, I can say woulda, coulda, shoulda, but at the end of the day, considering the caliber of this guy that I was out with, I can't really complain with the result, and I can't really complain with how I got the result, being in a breakaway for over half an hour at the end of the race and being active in the whole race. I think I really put myself in the best position to get a good result, knowing that I was one of the stronger guys there, and I was able to use that fitness to my advantage. I just want to say a quick thank you to the race organisers. Gillingham wheelers always put on some fantastic racing. I did a hill climb of theirs last year as well, managed to pick up third in that as well, and they always put on their races really well, and there's a really good community spirit about it. And to all the other riders as well, everyone was quite sporting. I don't think anyone went down with any crashes, which is really, really good considering the amount of crashes we've had recently in the local scene at Thruxton and Henstridge and whatnot. I've heard loads of stories of air ambulances happening. And a big thank you to all of my old teammates as well for the support. Luke gave me a couple of gels beforehand, Chris took me there and back, and I was speaking to a few of them afterwards as well. And yeah, it's really good to see you if you're watching the video, if you were there. Another quick shout out to Josh Nation, who actually gave me his entry for the Sandbanks Triathlon last week. He was there on Sunday, and unfortunately he punctured, and that's a real shame for him, but I'm sure he'll be able to pick himself up back up again and crack on with the rest of the race season. Anyway guys, thought I would just give a quick race report on my best result to date, really, in terms of road racing. I did place second once in a Glenlongland race with a few Cat 1s and a breakaway, but we don't talk about that. That was a few years ago now. I can't really have that as my claim to fame. Oh, I came second to Matt Downey once. Thank you so much for watching. If I've missed any details, then I'll undoubtedly crop them back in again. But my name is Zach, and I'll see you next time.